You just gotta stick to the rules. That's all that is. Godly, shout.
It's hitting that blueberry.
Yeah,
The
that's
sellers
why.
is up 12K. The buyers ain't kicking in no time soon unless somebody put in a big order.
I'm telling you, they're gonna let it hit that. And I'm gonna go over why it's doing this as it's dropping. So this is how it would look if you win this. Go ahead and put your stop loss and profit, please. Put it at the entry. That's what that would look like. It's a risk-free trade. Yeah, this thing is super tanking. We're gonna take some at the
Bro,
blueberry. Yeah, we done. We done for the week. So I'm
hey,
just
I just made 800 on the call.
golly. I used the .02. I'm up 200. We'll send that screenshot in there.
Going
I
crazy.
I could have did that. I almost could have, would have, should have did that. I ain't messing with indices on that account, so I ain't not until people's stuff built up. I gotta double check too because something just happened with somebody's. I'm trying to just make sure everybody's account is on balance based and not mirroring my lot sizes. Cause I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody was still trading it and blowed their account. So I ain't trying to pick on nobody, but yeah. And so if your account size gets too low, it's not going to take the trades that I'm taking at all because there's not enough money in there to take them. So if I did balance based, it still might not take it if I do an indice, but at least I'll know. So I got to check with them because I don't set their accounts up. I personally, Chad still do all that. So we're gonna do a partial. Let me see how I can do a partial on TraderView. Man, how you do this thing? I ain't never did this on here. I know how to do this on the phone. That'll be nice to learn right about now.
Oh, is it gonna hold the blueberry? I might catch that going back up too. I'm about to be done for the week. This, this, this crazy. This gonna make this all I've more than made up for my loss from yesterday.
And
Well,
that's
last
how it's
night.
supposed to be. I don't even trade ass like that. I would just want to get out. Bam. I should have left a penny in there. I'm out.
I trade Nas all the time on futures. Like that shit be making me so much money. It's crazy.
I bet.
It's crazy. I don't even have to go for the full move. I can literally just scalp. I
That's
can
what I'll do.
I catch $50, $100 quick in and out, in and
I'll
out.
trade it. I just ain't holding it. I day trade it. Yeah. Like this
Right.
right here. Like, bam, I'm done. Bam. I ain't trying to wait for the blueberry to break and to retest it. No, forget all that. I just day trade it. But
Yeah,
you know
right now
what's
it's too
crazy
close
about?
to the all-time high, so
Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm finna go. We finna go over the time frames, the last 3 to 5 days, the macro check down, and look at why this was a good sale. And explain all that. I hate how my trading you keep doing this right now. That's why I gotta do that and redo that. There we go. Um, that shouldn't be that complicated. I don't even see my settings button. I'm just gonna escape. There we go. We're gonna do it this way. We'll go down to the hour. Oh no, let me start at the daily. Now, y'all usually check the daily and I work my way down. At least the 4 hour. Man, this thing gonna tank. So daily chart, We got our first leg of our M in the TDI. We got our little funky W in the middle. It did cross up one more time off the yellow, which is the market baseline. For the TDI, this is similar to the water. So it bounced off of that. It came back in with our second leg of our M ultimately. And the green crossed the red here. It's at the yellow now. That's on the day chart. We got a railroad on the day chart from our candlestick Bible. And this is all-time high. Is it an all-time high?
Yeah, that was the all-time
You
high.
said that
Hit
high?
it
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I heard you say that. That what's up. Yep. So the all-time high. So it could be basically just pulling back somewhere. It's higher than it's ever been in his life. And it's pulling back. So we'll go to the 4-hour chart. Let me see. I don't even. Okay, divergence. TDI, y'all. I use the TDI first before the moving averages because there's a saying the RSI don't lie. The green, that's the money, that's the candlesticks, that's price. So what we got here is this high on the TDI up here in the overbought saying that it needs to be sold on this part of the chart. On here, this is where the candlesticks are. But what price did was move up, but the RSI moved down. So what this is showing on the TDI is divergence. So basically, the RSI is going to show where the candlesticks really want to go before the candlesticks even do it. And so what happened was, even though the price is moving up, the TDI showed divergence. It came down and it made an M right here. And the green crossed the yellow and the red pretty much at the same time. That could have been your original entry if you caught that up here. And I'm keep breaking this down because when is this? This is Monday. So it's still this week. This was just yesterday. So that's another thing I'm looking for. It's another thing I noticed. I'm going down to the 1 hour. And if I was to find that same spot on the 1 hour, basically where it was right here, this is where the TDI was higher and it was lower here. It's the same thing here. So we got divergence. And let me see, it got real low. It started off here. And basically this high right here on the TDI, it never came back up there. Even though the candlesticks was going up, it was getting lower on the TDI. It came at a W, started making M's, but these never got as high as this one, this point up here. And so that's showing divergence. So every time you saw an M and this green crossed the red going down, those could have been entries for your sale. Now I'm waiting for it to cross the yellow to give me more confirmation. That still happens before the ketchup crosses the mustard. So when you notice the ketchup cross the mustard, you want to make sure all of this is happening as well. So what happened today, I'm gonna zoom in on the candlestick so we can see that a little better. We got, see the ketchup cross mustard right here. And so if I go down to the TDI here, we got the green cross on the red back down. So I'm gonna explain this. This thing gonna keep on taking, bro.
I
New
know it.
candlestick, new 1 hour candle, and new 4 hour candle. So yeah, this thing finna keep on going. I actually would have had that amount if
Well, I caught it from the top of that divergence.
if I didn't already I had took the partial. Oh, whatchamacallit. 'Cause at first they was moving, it was the same amount. I was like, all right. But I'm gonna explain this TDI, and I'm about to explain the entries, and I just need you to pay attention to really the yellow line. Now, it was in a buying market. Nas was going up. When we started to notice these sales up in here, we're looking for the green across the red. That's our first sign. But as you can see, that happens a lot. It can happen here and not fully really give off a sale. The confirmation is after that happens, when it bounces off the Bollinger Bands or it was in the sale zone as high as it can go, and then you see it cross. That's your first sign. And then when it crosses the yellow, that's more confirmation. Now, once it crosses that yellow, remember the yellow is like the water. It's like the trend. So after it does that and it's under this yellow, you're going to be looking for to cross the red, the green across the red after that. And that's what it did here. If you missed like this entry and you didn't catch that, now you're looking for it to cross the red on its way back down. And that's where your entry would have been at when you notice the ketchup across the mustard and it's already done this. And like, okay, it's under, you're not looking for it to cross the yellow anymore. It already did that. And when it pulled back up to it, it bounced off of it. So you got to look at this as the same as the ketchup crossing the mustard, really. But your water is here. And then you got the green going up, and then it crosses back down. When you notice it crossed back down and the ketchup mustard has crossed, you can get into that sale. And what you're looking for, I think this is in a way, let me see, let me make this bigger, is when it break out, that's good. Is when it comes back in and crosses back up, is when you want to exit. Now, this is what that looks like. This didn't look like much on here, but what you want to do is you can put your stop loss and profit. You can take a partial. You don't have to completely exit when that happens. It depends on how many pips you caught in between that. Even though the TDI looks like this, where it's like, okay, the green crossed the yellow, it pulled back up, it crossed back down, it broke out, and then pulled back up. This could have been 50 pips. This could have been 3,000 pips, and the TDI would still look the same way. So you got to take heed of that. This could have happened, and that could have been a way bigger move in between that. You never know exactly what it's going to look like. So this right here is going to help you know when you need to take, basically manage your risk. Either you move that stop loss and profit, take a partial, or get out completely. It depends on what type of trader you are. If you're a scalper, you might just want to go ahead and get out. And if you're looking for, longer trends, put the stop loss and profit or take some money or whatever you want to do. And you basically wait for this to repeat. Because what's going to happen again, and we're not going to see it. We might not see it on this call, but what's going to happen again is this going to come up again. It's going to do all this all over again. And while it's coming back up, making W's and crossing back down again, most likely this is still going to just be dropping that whole time. And so all it's going to be doing is dropping. It's going to be consolidating, giving off, level 1, level 2, level 3. That's something that I always keep in mind too, is that 9 times out of 10, you're going to get 3 levels every day. And you're going to look for that on the 15-minute chart. So I'm still going to go down to the 15-minute chart. I'm still going to explain how you could have entered on every time frame, breaking it down. So that was the hour. That was pretty much the hour. I do look at the 30 because it does its own thing. Like the 15-minute and the hour correlate, the hour and the 4-hour correlate. But the 30-minute is like a whole nother, like got its mind of its own. It's a whole nother gym. It's a whole nother, got its own thing going. And like, okay, the 15-minute water, actually it'll be better to do it the other way around. Like the 4-hour water is your 1-hour blueberry. Let me double check myself. Yeah, you got the 4-hour water. We got the 1-hour mayo. And then that would be the 15-minute blueberry. So they correlate like that. If I go to the 30, there's nothing here right now because it do its own thing. So I still check the 30 to give me extra confirmation. It wasn't that much of a difference, but same thing. We're still going to the highest part on the TDI, which actually, because now I'm down to the 30-minute. Let me double check this. That was Friday. So on the 1 hour, yeah, that was that Friday. So I'm making sure I'm still going to the Friday. Friday right here. Now, it didn't go that high. It didn't go that high. What I'm looking for is a divergence still, which would have been right here to make sure if the TDI is still higher on this point than it is on today, and which it is just by a little bit. This is the highest point on the chart on Friday. If I go to Monday, it basically retested that area. They're at the same spot. And if I go to today, it got lower. So the candlesticks were still moving up since Friday, but the RSI was still making its way down. Still looking for the same thing. Now, on this was perfect with this sale here on the 30-minute because we got a break outside of the band. We got our M right here. And what we got is basically the green crossed the Bollinger Band, the blue, it crossed the red, then it crossed the yellow. And by the time it did that, the next candle said to sell. We already done entered this thing, but on a higher time frame, the 30-minute chart just gave off a sell signal. And let me see. Same thing here. So we got the green cross on the red, it crossed the yellow, and what it did here was pull back to it, and then it crossed the yellow again, then it crossed the red again. That's where I Ketchup crossed the mustard going down up here. That could have been an entry right there. And they look small, but that's a railroad right there on the 30-minute. That's another one here. So this would have been another entry where the green crossed the yellow again, then it crossed the red going back down. That would have been another entry you would have entered on this candle. So those are still showing other entries. Because basically what happened is the RSI got under the market baseline, is just bouncing off of it. It's kind of breaking it a little bit, but it's just bouncing off of it and crossing back down. This is the same as it being the water and the ketchup crossing the mustard on your indicators. That's what's happening in the TDI. And that's how it gives us other entries. Down to the 15-minute chart, which is my favorite time frame to enter on. I'm always look at it on at least the hour to 4 hour. But when I come down and look for those sniper entries, I'm coming down to the 15-minute chart. And let me see. Going back to Friday like we've been doing. That's the highest point. Now it stayed kind of even on a day-to-day. The highest point on the RSI on the Friday is pretty much even with Monday and today. It's a little lower today. So it kept retesting it. Even though the candlesticks were going up, we got the highest point on the Friday right here, but it came and made higher highs on Monday, but our RSI stayed at the same level. So it's basically like retesting that. That could still be counted as like a triple top M, where we got a hit right here, we got one right here, we got another here, and then it finally started to come up and go lower. It wasn't coming up to that exact point. It don't have to be like a big major difference. Not when you started to notice that the candles were going down on this day. when they were going up the 2 previous days. So that's divergence. That's what divergence is. And the TDI helps you recognize that. And what divergence is noticing the reversal basically as early as possible. It's still making M's, but they're getting lower and lower, even though the candles was getting higher. And now you're looking for that final point where it's gonna actually reverse completely and start making lower lows like it did today. It took out yesterday's low and took out Friday's low. And it's probably still gonna keep dropping, even though it hit that blue bear. It might still play out, do the 3 levels. This is the second leg of the end of the day. It can pull up, probably consolidate. It might not break the mustard again. We basically looking for it to retest that mustard and keep dropping, and let the 5 phases kick in. Also, okay, so what I'm gonna get into is the entry. Bounced off the Bollinger Bands here. We got our M. We can see our second leg of our M. And what it did here was the first leg, the green crossed the red going down, and it came up and it bounced off of the red. It didn't cross it back up and back down. It bounced off of it. And then that green crossed the yellow. When I seen that, that's what made me get into it. And that's why we caught that how we did. By the time the sale went off, that had already happened. Everybody with me on this so far?
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. I need to know if everybody else knows, because if you don't understand me,
That's who with
you know, huh? Who was that?
I'm with you.
You with you? What's your name? I'm looking now.
Mike.
Mike, what's up, Mike? Yeah. I know you got me, Randy. Latasha Renee, I'm calling you out.
I'm here, G.
Appreciate you, Randy. I want to make sure y'all understand this, man. Because even Chad said it the other day, the goal is to turn you into manual traders. When you turn into a manual trader, even if you're using the scanner, that's how we build. Other than that, we still got to learn to get this thing and get it ourselves, whether we put like $300 to $500 in our own account or whatever, and letting it build slow and to get to a point where we can start doing bigger trades and getting withdrawals from it. That's the end goal for real. Because even with a prop firm, ain't nothing gonna be like putting it into your own account still at the end of the day and withdrawing whenever you want to. And that's my goal. I want to see people actually get this, understand what's going on, because I feel like there's a lot of strategies out there. I feel like this one is one of the cheat codes. There's people out there doing other stuff and it work for them, but this is all I know. And I can explain this stuff down to a T. And it can seem like it's a lot to it. And at the same time, it's honestly simple once you get it. Once your eyes see everything you need to see, come up with your plan, your schedule, and stick to it. Stick to the rules, stick to what time of the day you trading, stick to how many times a day you trading. We could sit here and say 2-3 times a day, and then there's people in there just pushing them buttons all day. If you're a scalper, you're a scalper, but if not, and I ain't gonna lie, it's best to see the market where you taking 2-3 trades. It could be per pair a week, and it's because each trade you doing, you holding it all day long because you understand that the market's gonna move one direction most of the day, and you've caught the sniper of that direction. And still understanding stuff like this is consolidation this whole day on this. I couldn't even say where the stop point is at this point. Well, okay, I'm gonna tell you something. If the market is buying, the stop point is always going to be the sell. And when the market is selling, the stop point is always going to be the buy. If it's been buying, we got our funny looking little cursive W's down here. And the trend is shifting to where it's bouncing off the water. This was our first day of it. We had to drop and it came back up. This was still a sell day as it opened up here and closed down here. But that low was made. When it buys this day, the false moves is going to be them drops because it wants to buy. And so even here, it's not big, but it pulled back to the water and it did the drops. The biggest move was that rise right there. They could be holding this and probably want to reverse and sell all over again, or it's going to drop some to come and take some of the money back from this day or even this day and then go right back to buying again. The false move is always going to be the opposite of what it was doing the previous day. If it's been buying, we're looking for that fake sale to catch the dip and then buy again. All this stuff has to be recognized. The 5 phases, it always plays out. Consolidation. We got our ketchup across the mustard, bounced off the mustard all day, reversed at the end of the day, and pulled back. It's not always recognizable, and if it's not, you don't trade nothing. This right here was crazy. The false move was actually, it was up. It came and dropped, bounced off the mustard and reversed. But that reverse came and that was news, most likely. Yeah, that was news. Everything did that last week, Wednesday. Everything pulled up and made some kind of
That
big.
was at 12.
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
came.
that one wasn't even news though.
Was it? It was.
Yeah, it
Let me
did it on
see.
every pair. It wasn't even news.
Yeah, it did do it
Yeah,
on every
news had
pair.
came at 8:30 that day. I
Okay,
remember
yep.
because I was looking at it. I made money on it, and I seen all the pairs did the same thing.
Yeah, they all did. I know gold did it.
Yeah, they that was manipulation hour.
Mm-hmm. Probably because the news didn't go however they wanted it. They still was like, we're gonna get something today. And came and spiked the market up just to drop it, just to bring it right back up to where it was going anyway. That was pretty. That was it with that TDI. I don't know who was on here at the beginning. I explained it with this too. Of course, we was looking for buy. I knew it was gonna buy. It did the buy all day yesterday. I don't know. I hope somebody held that all day yesterday. That was a good one. I didn't get to hold that all day yesterday, but this right here, reasons why I wouldn't have took these sales. And what I'm basically trying to teach is how to narrow down which ones are good entries to take. So right here, we got the water on top, Ketchup Mustard going down and gave off the sale. I'm gonna go to my TDI. What did my TDI do? Where the green just crossed the yellow going up. So that's a buy. And then they gave off another sale. But the green already across the yellow going up, then across the red going back up. And they came and kind of bounced off of that. It was crossed up though. It already crossed up the yellow, then it crossed up the red. So from there, it was just trailing up. So in a situation like that, you can leave it alone if it don't align. If you're not sure what to do and you're not gonna follow the TDI over, you're not really supposed to pick one over the other. You're supposed to do the same thing. And when they in alignment is when you gonna catch the best trades. And let me see, this probably might have gave off a buy, yeah, on the 30-minute. And if we go to the 30-minute and look at what happened, it did exactly what we needed it to do. We got the green crossing the red up here, and it came and bounced off the red and the yellow. It already had crossed previously. Remember, this is always going to happen before the ketchup crossed the mustard. So we're looking for that. The green crossed the red and the yellow pretty much at the same time up here, and it just kept on trailing up. And by the time it gave off that buy, we could have took that. It gave it off on this candle, so you would have entered on the beginning of this candle. As soon as this candle opened, that's how this candle works. When it got a buy, it's when it shows a signal, it's at the open of that candle that it's showing it on. So that means as soon as the candle closed, the ketchup and mustard was crossed, the water was on the bottom, and that candle closed to confirm it. and it gave off the buy, and you would have caught that all the way up. And I always like to look at the pips because good God. This is why I look at the 30-minute too. The 30-minute will give you an entry that nothing else will. And earlier than the 1 hour. And that thing, it did almost another 300 pips from that entry itself. Let me see what the 1 hour look like still. 1 hour. 1 hour gave off an entry, which would have been the beginning of this candle. I'm gonna count the pips on that. From 9 o'clock, which happened right before the call. We caught nines though. And to the top of that candle was like 123 pips. Still would have got 100 pips out of that. And it worked the same way. We got our W bouncing off the Bollinger Bands. The green across the red going up. But we're waiting on that green across the yellow for more confirmation. And that's what happened. It did that on this candle. So by the time that buy came in and that Ketchup Mustard going up, we already saw what we needed to see. The RSI had already crossed the green. The green had already crossed the red, my bad, and the yellow, and was still trailing up. The RSI is above the 50. It was good to go. Still could have took that. I've been noticing this, so I'm actually going to go. I was going over this myself, so I'm just going to show everybody. I'm just going to go over what's happened and go over the TDI to show which one was good trades, which ones wasn't, and why they were, why they weren't. We got this one here yesterday. Now this one, well, we caught this yesterday. I don't know who I put this in my chat. I'm gonna start putting signals in that other chat now that I don't understand what's going on. I wish I had did this yesterday, in that chat, but we got the green crossing the red. We got the yellow right here. Gave off the buy. That's why I took that all day. Right here, what we got going on, I actually did show this. We got the green crossing the red going here, and it crossed the yellow right here. Now I pulled back in. And so from there, remember, ain't none 100%. And it actually was still a good trade. But from there, it could be reversing. You could just get out. At the same time, I like to set my stop loss. And I don't want to say marry every single trade, because what this TDI will do is show you I might need to get out so I don't take this whole loss. But I'd have put my stop loss, it never would have hit my stop loss. I use 100 pip stop losses on gold. So if I go to this candle and I go down 100 pips, it never came down there. It never dropped more than 17, 20 pips. So you'd have been good either way it went. If you had to took that and put in your stop loss and had a 100 pip TP, you'd have been good. But for not knowing that what happened afterwards, that's how that would have played out. But then this buy came in after, and what it did was the green dropped down and recrossed everything again. It made this W. We got it crossing the red up, and then we got it crossing the yellow. And I will say the sooner that it crosses the yellow after the red, like the more that they are closer together, the better the signal. So like when it crosses them at the same time, that's like the best signal when it's going the direction it's supposed to go. But that's like get crossing at the same time. It was in a buying market, so we're looking for buys. But when it crossed it going up, it was pretty much like back to back. And then that buy signal came in. This all happened like at the same time. The buy came in, it crossed it kind of on the previous candle right here. That came in, so that was another good entry. Right here, we got those buys going off right there, and the RSI was crossing the yellow. It looked like it crossed it on the next candle. It didn't cross it on this one when this gave off, but by the next one, it crossed it. I'm gonna back test a few of these This one right here, we got an evening star right here on the candlesticks. So that's no good. That's a sell. We got a buy right here. And when that buy went off, the RSI, the green, that had crossed. That actually was good. Now this just comes into your risk. How big was your stop loss when you did this? It went as low as, looked like 115 pips. So me, I probably would have got knocked out of this, honestly. But it overall did the direction it was supposed to. But right, what we got right here, and this is where it might get a little tricky, is even though the green crossed the yellow, it didn't touch the Bollinger Band. But if it had to like touch the Bollinger Band or like went outside a little bit, by the time this happened, I wouldn't have took it for that reason. Because at that point, the RSI is too far gone. I don't want to take them when they touch the band and that happens. And I'm not saying that that still couldn't have been a good trade, potentially, but that's going to make me wait on that. Also, sometimes gold will go off and it could take off all night, but this was Asian session. So it's consolidation. Our stop point was to the low and the stop point basically hadn't happened yet. It consolidated and it did the stop point low in London and then it did the rise. This gave off a sell. So basically the opposite happened. We needed this to do that on that side and vice versa. So we got our sell right here, but on here we got the green crossing the red and the yellow pretty much at the same time. It dropped down, and I don't know if y'all ever see that because it's in my way, but it bounced off the Bollinger Band. Now, what I got my TDI doing, they say bull right here, that's a buy. This is the TDI giving off a buy. So the TDI gave it off. You could have just left this alone because they not lining up, basically. Even though it gave off a good buy after that, you had the TDI giving off the buy, but the Ketchup Mustard giving off the sell. You could just scratch that. You ain't got to take every single thing. If it don't look 100% sure, you just leave it alone. You ain't got to take it. It's not a perfect setup. Meanwhile, you got today, you could have took every last one of those. All of those gave exactly what they needed to look like on both ends. We got a sell right here. And then it looks good on the TDI. I'll go down to the TDI. The green crossed the red before that sell. We got our M. Bounced off the Bollinger Band. Green crossed the red. By the time it gave off that sell, the green was crossing the yellow down here. That was good for our sell. Came down here and hit the Bollinger Band. Gave off this buy on the TDI. You just took a partial. Or got out the trade, depending what you're looking for. So when we count the pips, we would have entered here. As soon as it says sell, open up that candle, and I'm going to take it to where it says bull on the TDI, which is this candle right here. So you got 100 pips, 118 pips. You got 106 at the close of the previous candle. So when that candle closed and this came in and then it said bull right there, you would have got your 100 pips off of that entry. We got a buy right here, but we got the green crossing the red and the yellow going down. It was like on his way. So what it did was it was on his way up, and by the time this buy kicked in, the RSI was right here. So it was making its way down. We're not taking that. It's making its way down, and after that buy went off, the next candle it crossed, the green crossed the red and the yellow going down. So these are the things I want anybody using the TDI, I want you to notice and look for. That's how I'm narrowing down which trades I'm taking. That's what I wanted this session to be about. re-explaining that, and basically because I'm sticking with keeping my RSI on 5 because it shows the green crossing the yellow sooner than when it's on 14 or 21 or whatever else your RSI is on. And of course, like Sugar and Chad have theirs on 5. So actually it kind of makes sense and it all lines up. We could use the TDI, have it on 5. So if you're familiar with looking at your RSI on 5 and you're transitioning to this or using this or whatever you're doing, it makes more sense. And it should be clearer for you to see. It's more confirmation on your trades. And I hope that this helps. What time is it? It's only been an hour. Let me go back. Let me look at GU. GU gave off, I think, a buy. I know EU did. I'm gonna reset my chart. That's a little lower. Yeah, this is like a good one. I'm either gonna I'm gonna do EU. So what we got a consolidation all day. It's been buying. Let me see. 1, 2. This is the third day. We got our Mayo crossing the Blueberry up. When did that water cross the Mayo? 2 days ago. That gave off the level 2. Has been bouncing off the Mayo. We got a buy that just went off last candle, 2 candles ago. And what happened was we got the green cross the red, it crossed the yellow, it pulled back down to the yellow, and now it's bouncing off of it. So I'm about to get into this buy. I'm gonna do a 20 pip stop. I'm gonna do 20 and 20. This is the third day. So it should buy, but I don't know how much it wants to rise before it pulls back. Maybe it want to retest the blueberry. Euro USD, you could do 20 pips. This actually, let me see. Let me count how many pips this is if I put it below this low. Actually, I'm gonna see what 30 looks like. I gotta enter this thing. Gold taking off, man. I ain't gonna lie, 20 should do it. What's that, 1.16845? I can't see the TP. 1.17245. Swish. And what I'm gonna do is when it gets halfway there, I'm gonna have an alert, and I'm gonna move my stop loss into profit. So I'm gonna count the 10 pips. Let me see what we got. 20 all the way up. It's at 19 at this point. I think I'm gonna pip off where I started it. So when I get to, I'm gonna do 9. That's cool enough. I actually might do. I'm gonna put my TP for 30. And when it hits 10, I'm putting my stop loss on profit. That's how I'm doing that. 20 pip stop, 30 pip TP. When it's 10 pips in profit, move your stop loss to break even. Let the rest do what it do, risk-free trade. That should continue to rise. And let me see, we'll break this thing down. Why to get rid of that? That's where this thing be playing. All right. I think everything got an all-time high, ain't nothing never been this high before. Okay, now look, there we go. I'm about to say that could potentially go way up there. What happened on the day chart is basically it pretty much bounced off the day chart. It didn't touch the water perfectly on the day chart, but we do got the dip down here, the green cross red going up. It's touching the yellow. So if this day ends and that green and yellow have crossed, it's gonna keep shooting up. That's gonna cause the day chart scanner to give off a buy. We got the water on the bottom. So at the end of this day, if it says buy on that scanner and this has crossed, it's gonna keep going up. And it could potentially go for the previous highs. If y'all remember how I looked for targets. And now I can see it. We got a W right here. We got our M in the middle, and this is our second leg of our W. So it's been giving off buys. It gave off 3 buys on the day chart. Once it gave off this one, that sell was before that buy. We got our buy right here, and it's been giving it off. So, and it's funny that this is the day chart, almost like a 15-minute. We got the water crossing the Mayo and all of that. We got the Mayo crossing the Blueberry. So we got the water crossing the Mayo here, and then it crossed the Blueberry there. And this thing could go, I would start looking for the next highs because there's nothing else on the chart. So I can go to the entry. I see the entry. And it's that one right there. Go in here and get you a line. That's the next high right there. That could be our next target. These 30 pips ain't nothing. When you're looking at this on a bigger scale like that, go to the entry, count up to that next previous high. It's 186 pips. So it looks good on the day chart. 4 hour, we got the opposite going on. Did come and bounce off this Mayo. We got our funny looking W here, like a triple bottom W. That's the middle of the W right here. So it looks like it's going back to that. It's going to at least reach that. And if it passes this, it'll keep on shooting up. It looks like pullback on the 4 hour with the TDI. With the 1 hour, yeah, we would need this to cross. We got the green crossing the red. We need it to cross the yellow. But we still got it bounced off the Blueberry, so that's good. Usually when that happens, you can get 3 days of that direction. And you count it from when there's the second leg. So it came bounced here. First leg, most people probably took that. This was a stop hunt. Came down, did a railroad, back up, came and retested it again. And all it did was take out the low. If anybody had stop losses down here, it came and wicked them out. And now this is the real one. We got off the Blueberry, Ketchup across the Mustard. If we look right here, we got a green crossing the red and the yellow. And this is another gem. So you can treat the mayo and the blueberry the same way you treat the water. Water on the bottom, ketchup across the mustard going up, it's a buy. You can do that off the mayo and you can do that off the blueberry. And right here, this is pretty much what happened. It bounced off the blueberry, ketchup across the mustard going up. Then my TDI lined up with that, and you could have took that buy here. And it bounced up. We're looking for buys, but this is another situation where it bounced off the mayo, then the ketchup across the mustard going down. I wouldn't have looked for sales after this, but technically you could have caught something, and I'm gonna measure that. The concept is still the same, but it didn't give off much moves off of that. And I'm looking at for when the ketchup across the mustard, it didn't give off nothing. It went there. It didn't even, let me see. It didn't give off much. Yeah, they didn't give off nothing. It didn't even do, it did like 14 pips. But that concept would be the same. But we're looking for buys. We see the triple bottom W. Blueberry bounced off, ketchup across the mustard going up. That was day one. We got right here where it's bouncing off the water, kind of pulling back to it. The scanner gave off a buy here. And if I was to go and look here on my TDI, we got our W, green across the red. The TDI even gave off a buy. And then the green across the yellow right here. And then after that, the buy went off. The RSI was here when that happened. So that was a good buy. It came and did that. So now we're on this day. It's day 3. It should give off 3 days after the blueberry. We got 1, 2, and now we're in 3. So this, this is a good one. And it looked like the green is going to cross the red and the yellow at the same time on the TDI. 30-minute looks good on the 30-minute. The green crossed the red and the yellow back to back, gave off the buy. It did it here too. Let me see. On this one, nope. I'm glad we're looking at this. When it gave off the first one, it wasn't ready. Now, if you had to took it off just the scanner and put your stop loss, below the water or something like that, you'd have been good. It came and actually wicked right here. So it depends on how many pips you would have used for your stop loss. So I'm about to measure that out, see what I would have done realistically. It would have been at the open of that candle. So if I go in here and I'm going to count my 30, yeah, you still would have been good. It only did 15 pips to the bottom of that wick. So if you had did 20 pips, you'd have been good. It never came down there. And 30 pips especially, you'd have been good. So it did that. Based off the scan alone, that would have been good. But the reason why I wouldn't have took this based off the TDI is because we got the green under the yellow. So it made the M, green crossed the red here, crossed the yellow there. Okay, that's showing sales. And after that, all it did, every time the green crossed the red going down, it could have been a sell. Now, I didn't give off much for the sell because the overall move is still a buy. We're still looking for buys. And I always say that, know what you're looking for the week. When we notice the W off the blueberry, we're looking for buys. So we're not going to take no sales anyway. The scanner gave off no sales, but I'm just basically going over it. The ketchup across the mustard going down here and the green across the red going down. So everything is crossing down and it's under the yellow. There's no buys here. Now finally dip right here. The scanner gave off a buy right there. The TDI gave off the buy. The green crossed the red. And then it came up and crossed the yellow. It touched the yellow It pulled back one more time and it didn't cross the red, it bounced off of it. The green crossed the yellow again right here. Then that scanner gave off the buy. Euro USD is up 10 pips. So what we do is just put the stop loss at the entry. Just enough so that if it hit it, we don't lose the trade. Take a small little win, risk-free trade. That's what that looked like. It was a good day today. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, so that was good. I'm going to measure that out with this buy, which would be the opening right here. So if I count, I want to count to the low. Basically, when this happened, a 20 pip stop loss, it'll kind of had me straight. No, it'll whip that out. 30 pips, sometimes I do 20, but I usually stick with 30 with my forex pairs. And if it's a GBP pair, I'm doing 50. 30 pips would have been safe. If you had took that trade, it would have just now went into profit. So from there, you'd be up like 18 pips. If you had took this buy from earlier, you'd be up like 18 pips right now, something like that. And the 30 pip stop loss, you would have been safe. And the TDI lined up how I needed to. So that would have been good. We up in here now. We good. Everything good. Yeah, I ain't gonna overdo this. This is our recorded, so give me time to post it and share it. We can go over it. Y'all want to talk baseball? It don't matter. I got a doctor's appointment to go to. Probably like another 2 hours. Y'all woke? I don't put her to
man.
sleep.
Yes.
What?
Please already ready for the night.
Let me see where we
The
at.
device is successful.
There we go. This thing finna hit the TP, cuz. I'm going to. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it do what it do. It's at yesterday's high. That's gonna break that though. I'm gonna wait till this candle close. Let me see. Let me check the chat. Appreciate you, Mike, Paul.